I've heard several people say through this pandemic something along the lines of, when this is all over with, I'm going to take some of the busyness out of my life. I've come to appreciate not being as busy. It seems like we are really good at squeezing more and more into our lives, even good things, but it ends up being more and more. Um, we feel like every minute needs to be something that's productive and got to be doing something. And I'm as guilty of that as anybody, maybe even more so. So a lot of this is for me. A lot of it comes from a book I'm reading right now by a guy named Peter Scazzero, so I'll make sure I give him proper credit for a lot of these thoughts. But that's not God, how God created us to live in a crazy, busy, frantic lifestyle. We don't see that in any of his people in Scripture. We don't see that in God himself. On the sixth day of creation, God, after 6 days, on the seventh day, stopped and he rested. And we don't. Let's look at a couple of thoughts on this. First, I'd like to look at our daily routines. If we're doing good, we have a 15, 30, 60-minute time with God, devotional time, prayer time, meditation, however that looks in your life. And for a lot of us, including me often, it's a chance to get filled up before I start my day. But then as the day goes along, 2 hours later, that's gone. That's history. I'm involved in whatever's going on. I think the goal is more to be walking with God and be present with God all day or throughout the day, rather than just for that brief time in the morning. That's not a concept that's new. That concept through Christianity's gone on for centuries, and it looks different in different times and places. But it's not something we do very well in America today. So this process of taking some time out during the day has to be intentional. I think we need to make sure we avoid it becoming legalistic. Like, oh man, I forgot to stop and do a noontime prayer or a noontime quiet time. Or I got that done. I only had 15 seconds, so I can check it off my list. But, that's not the goal. That's not the goal at all. The goal isn't to do these things. The goal is to be more present with God. But that requires us to do a few things. The first thing it requires us to do is stop and be. We try to do things on the run so much. We have this concept in our society of arrow prayers. I'm driving down the road and I shoot a quick arrow prayer off to God, and those are fine. There's nothing wrong with those, unless that's the totality of your time with God throughout the day. Then you might want to revisit that and say, I really need some stop time. We seem like we got into this position where I can't stop doing what I'm doing because I'm so busy and what I'm doing is so important. And what'll happen if Ken takes a 5-minute break or a 10-minute break to spend some time with God in the middle of his day? Is the planet going to stop turning? Is my business going to shut down and go bankrupt? Probably not. I think we can trust God with those minutes to take care of things and trust him with that. Beyond stopping, I think we need to be still. And the go-to scripture is to be still and know that I am God. That's true. It's hard to really be present with God if we're still on the go. And the third thing I think is important is silence. We are not a silent society. We have the radio going all the time, the TV going in the background. Now, what you're not watching TV? No, but I've got the background noise. I like the background noise. We're a society filled with noise. When God speaks with Elijah, it's in a whisper. It's not in the fire and the wind and all the things that happened before that. If you got noise, then you're not going to hear the whisper. And I think so many times we miss the whispers of God because we're filling our lives with so much noise. Remember, the goal is to walk with God throughout the day and to be with him. It's just like having a conversation with someone. I know when our kids were little and I'd be at church, and I'd say, I'm listening to what you're saying, but I'm watching my kid running across the auditorium behind you. And there really was sort of a lack of being present in that conversation. And it was what I had to offer at the time. But we need to make sure we have that time with God that we are present and that we are being. That's the rhythm of a day. What about the rhythm of a week? What does that look like? I remember when Sundays used to be called the Christian Sabbath. Stores were closed. Sundays were family time. You'd get up and you'd go to church and you'd come home and you'd have Sunday dinner. And then the rest of the day was, slow and easy and, time with family or time with friends that you just kind of chill. Those days are gone. My Sunday's probably my busiest days of the week. And it doesn't have to be Sunday. But God established the concept of Sabbath at creation. It's been part of his people for 3,000 years. Interestingly, when you look at the Ten Commandments, most of them are one-liners. Don't steal. Don't commit adultery. Keep the Sabbath gets a whole paragraph about you don't work, your kids don't work, your servants don't work. God's like, let me explain this to you in more detail. This isn't just to keep the Sabbath. It's flushed out there with a whole paragraph. Everything else gets one line. But when we talk about taking a Sabbath day in our society, it's crazy talk. God is so countercultural and has been all since the inception of time. He tends to go against culture. Our culture is go, 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 go. And for us to talk about saying, I'm going to take a day of the week and not go, 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 go. And spend my time communing with God and those kinds of things. Again, just like the daily routine, this requires stopping. This requires trusting God to take care of the world while we're not participating, while we're not making our contributions to it. And it also means us trusting God to take care of us. But Ken, I'm working 6 days a week because that's what I've got to do this, this, and this. God said to the Israelites, you take the Sabbath off and I will take care of you. Let the land rest on the seventh year. I will take care of you, even though you're losing a portion of your crops for that. All these things God said is to trust. Contributions made from the harvest were supposed to be the first 10% the first harvest, not the second or third. You didn't go, okay, now that I've made sure that my crop came in good, then I'll give to God. No, God said, give me the first fruits. Well, what if the hailstorm comes on the second day? Well, you have to give me the first fruits and then trust that I'll take care of you after that. We have to do that with Sabbath too. We have to trust that he will take care of us. Second part of taking care of participating in Sabbath is resting. What is it that you need to rest from? Is it work, hurriedness, physical exhaustion, worry, decision making, technology, errand running? What does it take for us to realize that we need to stop and rest? For so many people, it ends up being something like a heart attack or a pandemic in our case today. I know I am more rested now than I was 2 months ago. This has sort of been a forced Sabbath for a lot of people, including me. And then the third part of Sabbath is delight. Delight in God's creation, delight in the things that are around us. On the seventh day, God had stopped and he said, look at the creation. It's good. The things I've done and made are good. And we need to do that too. If we've slowed down and we're taking a break, we can stop and go, look how beautiful that butterfly is that God created. If I'm rushing out to my car, I don't even see the butterfly. If I hear a child playing in the other room, laughing and giggling, to sit and enjoy the beauty and the innocence of that. Well, if I'm busy on my computer getting that last thing done for work, that last report done, I don't even hear that, or I find it annoying because I can't concentrate. So taking the things that God's giving us and appreciating them is part of what that goes. To stop and engage with people as we encounter them. If my agenda is go, 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 if I see someone's hurting, I kind of go, oh man, I hate that, and you go. You don't take time to stop and engage. And sometimes if you don't stop and engage, you don't know that they're hurting to start with. But you can spend time in conversation and true conversation with people, demonstrating God's love and experiencing God's love. Hopefully this pandemic time has given you a chance to look at some things like it has me and maybe reevaluate some of these things and be able to make changes in my life and in your life that allow us to be more with God each day. Thank you.